Okay, here we go. Hi, welcome to Eternal Love of Drama, a channel where two drama bingers share our strong but uninformed opinions about Chinese drama. I'm Linda. We don't know much about the Chinese entertainment industry or celebrities, but we love watching dramas and sharing our opinions about it.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a drama that we actually finished watching a little while ago, but we just never got around to reviewing it, and it's the drama Luoyang. Okay, so Luoyang is a drama that was released at the end of last year, and we were really, really, really looking forward to seeing it just from all the previews and who's in it, and it finally came out. So we watched it. So it basically is a mystery drama that takes place during the reign of Wu Zetian, who is China's only female emperor. And it talks about three people that because of weird circumstances, come together to solve a mystery that is a little mystery that becomes a giant conspiracy mystery. And so our three main characters are a guy named Gao Bingzu, who is, I guess, a constable, coroner / weird shady character from the ghetto of Luoyang, the town. And then Wang Yibo's character plays the son of the Minister of Works. So he is, I guess, an engineer or I guess, a builder by trade. And then the third character is played by Victoria Song, and she is one of the imperial guards, distantly related to the emperor's family. Her last name is Wu, and she also engages in some mystery solving. So tell me what you thought.
So I'll just give a warning that we are going to first talk about the things that we liked about the drama, and we're going to try to do that without spoilers. But then when we get into the things that we didn't like so much, we will warn you because there will be spoilers. The first thing that I really think stands out about this drama is that it's visually like beautiful. It's so gorgeous. Like all the lighting is just fantastic when like they're inside and it's nighttime. It looks like that instead of like looking like fluorescent lighting. Like when they're underground, the lighting is appropriate. There's a lot of like outdoor scenes. It's really like beautiful, and they were very thoughtful about like set design, costume design, and it has a very cinematic feel to it. And I think we were joking that it must like have set a record for the candle budget for a Chinese drama. There are so many candles.
Most number of candles in any Chinese drama ever.
Yeah.
Just like his room alone, just like Wang Yibo's room alone, had like more candles than I have ever bought in my entire life, and probably will be for the rest of my life.
Yeah. What about you? What did you like?
Okay. I liked the fighting. I thought it was really good, especially that they gave Victoria Song some really good fighting scenes, because she's a constable and she legitimately beats people up, and she's kind of the tough one. So I thought that the scenes were like very well choreographed. And even the like adjacent scenes to the fighting where they were like maybe running, I felt like between the music that was paired with it, I like actually felt like it was kind of exciting to watch them chasing each other around, fighting, like the way
my
that
adrenaline was definitely pumping watching a lot of those chase scenes. Like they were really well done. And another thing is like they actually put people on the streets like when it was supposed to be crowded. Like there was like so many like low budget dramas, and there's like literally like 10 people on the street. They actually like hired enough extras to like create a crowded street when it's supposed to be crowded.
Well, I think not just the streets, but like in the ghetto, it actually seemed overcrowded, and like kind of like gives you that like I'm in a very like congested place and there are millions of people living here. You feel that. So I felt like that was very well done. Although I did you read that too, like where someone was saying that they actually like copied that from like the fight sequence from like a manga? I don't know if I care. I mean I do care about like copyright, but like generally most dramas shoot very bad choreographed fighting, and there was no like here's my secret special weapon and enhance it with CGI. It was like very like fisticuffs. Okay, so I liked that. What else?
I think that between the Emperor Wu Zetian and Wu Siyue, the Victoria Song's main character here, there were just like cool women characters. Like they were both like strong and smart, and like it wasn't, and then there were other just like people like the emperor's secretary, the woman who was like part of that like underground intelligence whatever,
Oh
like
yes,
they were
yes.
just like a position that was filled by a woman. It wasn't like a whole like thing about them like just being, so there were cool women characters, and I thought that with them and with the other people there were many characters who had great character development throughout the drama, and like sort of like did behaved in a way consistent to the way that we're supposed to think they are, instead of just like making illogical choices to move the plot along. So
I think like in particular the way that they handled the Wu Zetian character was really interesting because she has like a strange reputation in history, right? And I guess the whole thing is like history belongs to who tells it. But there are a lot of tellings, like so she's like either like cold-blooded or she's a shrew or she's a slut that like sleeps around there. I mean, I don't know, but they gave her this like she's almost like the calm like mom. And she's like, okay, like I'm,
but
did you
also a
just
little scary, but not
yes,
in a like shrewy way, just like
yeah,
because
it
she's
was
powerful.
interesting. Yes, like to be like a calm, composed female in control without like she didn't need to bite anyone's head off literally by yelling. They were just afraid that she would do it just I guess in her actions.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other
Okay.
thing I thought like the main leads all did a really good job. The three leads, like the acting was very good. So you weren't like taken out of the story because of poor acting. Yeah, I
Of the
like those
main leads.
performances. Yes. All right, so
Okay.
should we transition into the things that we didn't like? So here's your spoiler warning. Stop watching if you haven't watched this yet and don't want to hear any spoilers. Okay.
Okay.
What
So what
didn't you
didn't
like?
you like?
Oh,
I thought that there were some characters that were really bad and annoying, and I will just be in the like bandwagon of people who don't like Erlang's wife, Jinyoung. And I'm like very disappointed in her character because at first I thought her character was in that for first category we said where she was very promising and like a strong character that was different. But in the end, they like really gave her mostly lines that were like Erlang, Erlang, Erlang. That was like she said that like
or like
80% of the time.
ah!
Yeah, but in the beginning, you thought she could be like she like there were some moments like after his father died where she like really took control of the situation and she was like very mature and like the like head of household, right? And you thought, oh, like this girl's smart. And then she says some things sprinkled throughout as they're solving the mystery where you're like, oh yeah, she's got a brain. But then like the rest of the dialogue they give her is like why did you have her as a character? Like she could have
Mhm.
been so fun as like his
Yeah.
like buddy.
Yeah, I really feel like and she's like, we've seen her before in My Heroic Husband and in
Doing like
Joy of Life, right? And she has a lot of like, she's a very spirited person, you can tell, and like I don't know what they did with this character and why. Like it was just, I think, poorly written. Um, the way that that came across could not have been like her personal acting interpretation of it. It was just
no.
and also like that whole relationship with the two of them like bothered me, right?
Oh
Like he
yeah,
is like a dick to her. He is
yeah,
so terrible to her for
yeah,
most of this, right?
yeah,
And like, I do hold it against him as it makes me like him less as a person. It should, right? It should make you like someone less as a person if they are like borderline abusive to their wife. Um and maybe abusive is extreme, but he's very like emotionally like cold to her. He doesn't treat her like a human being, and you can sort of interpret this as like his emotional unavailability like suggests he's like on the autism spectrum or whatever, but like if you go with that interpretation, then by the end, right, it's like, oh well, he's like cured. He's like not that way anymore because of her persistence and love. Like what the heck, I don't buy it. I don't like their relationship,
yep,
and I don't like her character.
yep. Okay. And in a related situation, I also really thought the entire character of her brother was stupid. And it created, and I feel like he was written into the story specifically to advance the plot so that there would be a way to end the story. He suddenly appears after being not in town. Okay, so I'll say this too. Her dad, who's been gone for 15 years or however many years, suddenly appears too. And like he has only one role, right, which is to move the plot in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And her brother comes along, and his only job is to be like with his girl or to annoy the heck out of her. And then, like, quote unquote, get revenge for her demise, which she didn't. I mean, she did bad stuff, so she deserved what she got. Sad, but like, I don't feel like that relationship between those two, the dancer, I can't remember her name, and the brother, I'm like, that whole thing was stupid. And it like resulted in probably the worst ending possible.
Yes, we'll get to that. But like, let's
Yeah.
stay on brothers for a moment.
Brother. Yeah.
Because I think we decided that this, first of all, sisters are better than brothers. And second of all, this drama has like a large collection of terrible brothers, right?
Yes.
Gao Bingzu doesn't have an actual brother, but his like sort of brother in arms like
His adopted
does him
brother, like
dirty.
her mom, his
Yeah.
mom raises them both, right? So they're
Yes. Yeah. And
yes.
then Surya's brother is sketchy AF.
Yeah.
And yeah, and her brother sucks. Oh, also Erlang's brother obviously sucks a lot. And I actually think that that character is one of those like plot things that I really hate, like when it's like somebody becomes like a caricature of a villain because they had like a childhood or a youthful wrong, like they were wronged in their youth, and then they decide like that I'm gonna take it out on. And yeah, I get that this is a thing that happens, but it makes for us like a too easy of a story, you know? Like when somebody wants
Can
to
we talk about this for 1 second?
Oh god. Yeah. But like someone wants to plot world domination because of like some wrong that they perceived.
Okay, and they've done this for 10 years. They've been plotting this for 10 years.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the
okay, because this is why he's such a bad villain, right? Because like bad, like not like a bad guy, but like not a well executed bad dude. Because his motivation is so stupid. So his motivation is that because he has this many six fingers, like he's been discriminated against his whole life, and like he is not able to join the government because of his like sixth finger, right? So here's like my big question. When he was born and a baby, why didn't they just like remove
because they knew this, right?
Yes.
And it's not like, you know,
and it was like a
conjoined with the twin at the brain. You can chop off a finger.
Yes. And this is probably the part where the costume design was the worst, is when they tried to integrate a finger, because honestly, like people with vestigial fingers, like it doesn't often look like a whole other finger. It's just usually like a little tiny
little
yeah. And they could just chop that off when like snip, you know?
Yeah.
So why didn't they just do that? And how does he have an entire trauma based on something that could have very easily within like 10 minutes be fixed when he was like just born?
Also, you could do it as an adult.
Yeah, you could do it as an adult. It would hurt a little bit more.
At any time, he could have just cut it off and just like had a scar on his hand. Yeah, it is
and
like
then this sets up your whole worldview.
And it sort of alludes to like the fact that this drama like introduces these big ideas about like inequality and oppression, and like, you know, people with disabilities being like oppressed and wrongly excluded, but then it never like finishes its thought on all and any of these things, right? It's always like oppression, it's happening, or like, you know, he has an extra finger and that's not fair, and then that's it. Like there's no like point of view necessarily.
Which, I mean, are we going to transition to the ending or the political?
Okay. Do we have anything else to say about brothers other than they all suck in this? Like brothers are terrible in this. Everyone's brother is terrible.
Everyone's brother is terrible. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Talk about why we hate the ending. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're still watching this and you don't want the ending to be spoiled,
Oh, it's too late.
okay, go. Ending.
Okay, like so, um, her brother, sorry, like Jinyoung's brother, um,
Long or whatever, right?
yeah, Shilong, right? So he's number 10. He's like the kid in the family. He has this childhood friend who becomes like a dancer in the like dance hall. And she's like the like whatever main prostitute lady who's the most beautiful in the city. First of all, I don't know if I think she's all that pretty or like pretty enough to be like the prettiest girl in the drama, but whatever, right? You've got
I
to
feel
have
like
someone.
with these things, you just have to accept who they say is the prettiest, and
Yes.
you're like, okay, fine, whatever.
Okay. So she's like also
That's
a
up to the
spy though.
casting people. Sorry.
Yeah. So she's in this secret cult, and she's a spy based on her ability to be like pretty and access like people. And then he realizes after he suddenly reappears into the city that like she's like the girl that he grew up with that they like forcibly like separated, and he loves her, and he is so annoying. He is so annoying, and he goes there and he harasses her
Little baby
constantly.
man.
Yes, to like the extreme. And
Yeah.
then finally she's like, okay, but then, something happens and she dies. And then he's like, I must get revenge. And then he picks getting revenge on the wrong person. And then he shoots Usuya, who dies. And then let me tell you more. Let me tell you more.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he doesn't get any punishment. He gets exiled. And then everyone's like, and Ernyoung's like, okay, or sorry, yeah, she's like, oh yeah, okay. Chinyoung's like, okay, whatever. Like he's gone. And then like we'll never see him again. I don't know. It's like everyone is very accepting, but he like her brother just killed her best friend.
It's
So
first of all, I want to start with like the plausibility of a dumbass like him being able to even pull this off. Like,
yeah.
how was he even able to get to that place and do this thing? I don't buy it. And second of all,
No,
it's
no.
sort of like they like feeling like this drama is gonna not be edgy enough if they don't like kill a main character. Like, what is the point of killing her? And like, yes,
Tragic Chinese drama ending.
see, but it wasn't like a tragedy is tragic throughout, like it is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
nonstop, like Princess Wei like every episode, something very, very terrible happens to her and she cries and then she's really noble for getting through it, right? Like, but like there is no point to her dying and to die at the very end. Like, what's the point, right? Unless it's like, anyway, so I feel like, they did her dirty. Like,
Yeah.
she's a great character and there is no reason her death is senseless. And like, if you are going to end your drama with a senseless death that then goes like, what is the point, right? Like, what are you trying to say? Like,
Well, you knew they were going to do it too, because in the 2 previous episodes, she had some like super disgustingly sappy scenes with like
yeah, it's
Goblinzu.
too much like making plans for the future so that you're like, no, these plans will not happen. Like,
Yeah. Okay,
uh,
so that's the first thing is how did he get past security to the point where he could shoot an arrow?
and like, why would you like, what's the point of ending your drama this way? Like, you have
Yeah.
just showed us this like, are you trying to say that like, awesome female characters will die a senseless death? Like,
That there's
and that
no, I
people
don't know.
from
Yeah.
people from can like rise up from the like ghettos, but they will never find ultimate happiness. Like, what are you trying to say to me
Okay, so let's talk
with
about
this
the like
stupid
political
ass
stake.
ending?
Okay,
Oh yeah.
because this is
Okay.
related, right? Because
Okay. Yes.
so like the whole time Gobings was like, I'm gonna like let the people of the ghetto out into the main streets, right? And so this has been his cause. But this is like, and we joked about this. This is no Les Mis, right? This is not Les Mis.
We do
And
not hear the people saying.
the people did not sing. And at the end, they're just there, and you're like done, right? So like, have you actually like had a conversation about why were they there in the first place? What are some of the other like larger sort of social cultural like dynamics in play? It just was like they're out and it's done. It's like completely illogical.
Right. So like they sort of like they like throw this idea out there about
Yeah,
like people that are oppressed and like the lower classes, right? But like every drama, every Chinese drama from like these periods have like a practice of like if somebody does something wrong, their whole family is banished. And this is the kind of place they go to. They just never show it, right?
yeah,
And like and also it's very confusing to me like is this place supposed to be underground but also like anyways like it has rivers and
yeah,
like
yeah.
anyways it was well designed but I was confused by the like geological factors that might um but so like are you trying to make the statement that like they should be free and like is that supposed to be my happy ending that these people get to leave the ghetto like
Yeah,
because that's not what the plot was centered around. It wasn't a story of their resistance and freedom, right? It that was part of Gao Bingzu's motivation, but like that's not a satisfying ending for me. Also, their whole like thing about those people needing to first of all immediate like overnight he goes out for a walk with Suya and Gao Bingzu is immediately like I love the capital and I love these people, they're so beautiful even though these people have oppressed him his entire life, right?
yeah.
And treated him like less than human.
Was the
And
Lantern
then,
Festival. Magic happens at Lantern Festivals.
yeah, okay. And then they enlist like all of the people in the ghetto to save all of these people
Yes.
that like live in the city. And they're like, okay. And in many ways, I feel like it's very Chinese, right? That
Mhm.
like, you know,
Yes.
people treat you badly, but it doesn't matter. What matters is what you do. And if you work hard and commit yourself, like even die for this cause, like they will recognize you and you will be
But it's
free.
not any cause though. It's the cause
It's
of
not
like
a cause. It
preserving
really
the
isn't.
it's not the cause, it's the country, right? So it's
Mhm.
like for the glory of their city. So they all work together to save their city. And that's what was worth it. So
It's
that's
not
the
their city.
message.
They're like literally not allowed to go there.
Yes. Yes. But it's the
Like
dream
they,
and the
the
hope of
reason
the
that it was
ideal city.
dangerous
Yeah.
for them is because they could be killed for going there.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I am going to say one thing that I hate, and this is related to all the stuff we were just talking about. So the author of this story is the same author as, it was the same writer of the novel that wrote Longest Day in Chang'an, right? Which you didn't finish watching, and I watched, but like was really mad that I watched. And so I feel like I ended up being really mad for the same reason. So now I feel like Ma Boyang, you have two strikes against you because
Mm-hmm.
you like did something that pissed me off in both cases. So Longest Day in Chang'an was also very visually appealing, and
Mm-hmm.
it had like very promising detective right story, and so you almost felt like this was like a lighter version of Longest Day, because there was, you know, the main detective there. He's also sort of this underdog, like, you know, freed from prison, kind of like disenfranchised by society, that rises to the occasion and nobly saves his city, right? And he, you know, all along the way you meet his friends and his compatriots, and you get that very same sort of vibe. But then
Mm-hmm.
the ending is also the very same in a lot of ways, right? Because, you know, it is the big thing that they're building, but then it's not, because there's this greater conspiracy around killing the emperor or the empress. Okay. And then the end, it's also the same. Like, he asks his lady friend, like, would you like to come spend time with me? And she was like, no, I must protect this city. And so they've decided that love isn't worth it, that protecting the city is the greater vision that's better than both of them. And so they must do this. And I feel like you get that same vibe from Gao Bingzu at the end. It doesn't matter that I just lost this wonderful
Yeah.
woman. I must go on and protect the city, in her name, in her honor.
I
And
feel
I'm
like
like,
if you are going
wow.
to do that, you have to sell us on like this thing being worth protecting. Like
Yes,
like they didn't spend the beginning of the drama or the middle of the drama or anything until the end of the drama really like trying to convince us and enroll us, the viewer, into the cause of like protecting this great city. And
yeah.
so like you're like,
See,
but
and
they
that's
did get
why
us
it's
like
not Les Mis.
invested in the Usuria characters. Then you're like, but you like didn't make me care about this thing, and you've taken away this thing that you did make me care about. So
Yes, and that's why this is definitely not Les Mis, because in Les Mis you did see those relationships, and you were like, "That's kind of sad that they never got together because he got shot. But like, I believe in this cause of freedom and democracy, and I understand oppression versus like not oppression, because they like tell you the story and you
Mm-hmm.
are bought in. You are
Yeah.
singing, right? That's how they
Mm-hmm.
changed the ending song, right? You are singing with them, and
Yep.
you're like also part of their movement, and you believe it. You totally do. Or I did when I like read the
Yeah.
books and watched the video, right? Or
One more,
the
one day
like,
more to revolution. Let's do it. Right.
yeah, like we are all, right? Like you believe it. But then like this,
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we protecting? Like the political philosophy that they were like throwing back and forth was stupid, right? And
Yeah.
like in Longest Day was even worse because the king and his like son and some of the ministers were arguing political philosophy, and you're like, no, I don't believe any of this, and it doesn't bear
Yep.
out in the story. But this even less. So sorry. Now the question is
So
like, what
you're
do we
really
do about
excited to watch Longxi, right? the third drama from this author, the Hongqi Longxi or whatever, the like
yeah,
upcoming
yeah.
one.
I mean, the previews, like, again, also look very visually polished. And what I think I'm gonna do, okay, I feel like this is the answer. I'm gonna wait until you watch it and then you tell me if we should watch it. We're not watching this together. I'm not chasing it.
Okay. Well, here's what I'll say to like
Okay,
wrap all this up.
wrap it up.
Is that I found it until the ending like quite entertaining. And
Yes.
I enjoyed the team of unlikely allies coming together and like becoming friends and like solving the mystery together. And so I found most of this drama very entertaining. But when you sit down to think about it, it really does make me angry in many ways. And of course, I like want to murder the ending of this drama. So, I liked it until I didn't. And I would still recommend it because I think there's a lot of trash out there. And this is like, in some ways, very much less trashy.
I actually enjoyed it so much. Um, like that, like the big reveal about the assassin, right? Like 17th night and all of that. I just thought that was so good. Like they had like a very strong start. And the first half was so good. And but then they started unraveling who was behind her, and it got really bad, right? So I felt like that first half getting to like who she was, the big reveal, and the ending of that arc, I thought that was wonderful. But then the rest of it was like they had so many things that could have been really good but weren't. Like Gong Zizu, his character was like interesting, and they teased that it could have been really good, right?
Yeah. And then
But
it
then in
wasn't.
the end, it wasn't. And so there were just all these things that could have been really good that just weren't. But to your point, there's a lot of garbage out there. So,
Yeah, I think it like for me like what it comes down to is the story itself, like
yeah.
and I don't know how true this was to the original source material or whatever, but like it like just like has all these great ideas that don't like get
Mm-mm.
tied together in the end.
I mean, is that video editing? I don't know. Like this was 39 episodes. Um and like it could have been more, I guess. Or I mean, I don't know if it can. Like there are some dramas out there getting like 40 something episodes that are just not good. So
Hmm.
I don't know what the rules are. Maybe it's all arbitrary. We don't know anything about this, so whatever.
Yeah.
So
All
watch
right.
it,
Well, yeah,
I guess.
we liked it until we didn't, and you should watch it probably.
There's not much out there.
How's that? How's that for non-committal review?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Bye.
gonna stop the recording. Bye.